we found my favorite ice cream ever at Fred Meyer's Select, and it's like a bourbon truffle ice cream. So delicious. Then Adam started looking at the ingredients one day, and I'm like, no. And he's just like looking up each ingredient. He's like, oh, this is poison. This is poison. This is banned in other countries. I'm like, so we ruined my favorite ice cream. We can no longer get it.
Oh.
I could choose to still get it. Like, I know this Dr. Pepper is terrible for me, but I'm like, okay, well, maybe I'll do the Tillamook because it's got more natural ingredients in it. But I'm
going to interrupt you because I think that is the biggest key to all of this. It's harm reduction. You think you're going to, and not you specifically, but this is kind of me that I had to wake up to, is choose your battles. Because if you think you're going to be like, start to wake up to some of these like, oh, this isn't good, and change everything in your life at once. Like if you're buying a course, God bless them, but like $30 and you'll know how to be completely perfect in 30 days or something, it's not going to happen. And like for me, my biggest like cutback had to be alcohol. That was like, what do they call it? Eating the elephant or something, where you try to do, I don't know, or maybe, I don't know. But I knew I had to start with the hardest part for me, which was alcohol. And then I try to get better with some of my other things, more like so far what I'm putting on my body. I've gotten more into those ingredients.
I know.
Food I can't do yet. It's so ingrained from child. Food is like whatever happens to you as a kid is what's going to happen. And that's a lot, right? And so I try to do little bits. Like we incorporate so much fresh, and I still have processed food in my house, and you just got to do that give and take, you know, like I'm trying to slowly get better there.
Well, and you would think that with modern technology and manufacturing and everything, we would be able to make the best quality food and clothing and everything for the people. But it's like, actually, you look at, we had much simpler things back then, 20, 30 years ago. And it's really like, I found out leggings, like the leggings everyone wears to the gym.
Yeah.
Pretty much all women now are like committed to their leggings. Well, I just read, that actually all the plastics and polyester and all of that like soaks into your skin when you sweat. So when you're sweating in these leggings, it's being absorbed in your skin, all these little microplastics and PFAS and everything. And so you're just like, and I'm just like, people just want to be comfortable. And
like, where do you start? What do you cut out? Because everything has something in it.
Everything's killing us.
I'm going to start here. And that's because I think we can get
what? Have you watched The Good Place? That's got like Ted Danza and Kristen Bell.
My husband's watched it. I remember him binging it. He really liked it.
I don't want to spoil it for anyone that hasn't watched it yet. It's a fantastic show, but kind of the overall like premise of it though is that you can't, I don't know, it's like anything I say would spoil it, but it's been out for several years. So it's kind of like, well, if you haven't watched it yet.
Okay. Yeah. I would say I don't think anybody came on this live broadcast worried about The Good Place.
The Good Place spoilers.
If you did, I will send you a gift basket. Yeah. I will give you anything you want.
Earmuff for like two or a minute here. So
sorry.
I'm going to spoil The Good Place. So The Good Place is actually the bad place. So they have this twist at the end of season 1 where they're like, oh, actually, we're in the bad place. And it's... So, but then they find out there's a point system in, hell. They're like all in hell, and everything that they're doing like is negative points. And so then they end up finding out that no one goes to the actual good place. That everyone's ending up in the bad place, because even the things that you think is good, like ordering a bouquet of flowers for your friend, maybe.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, that bouquet of flowers though has like this environmental impact and this and this and this. So you get like negative points, and that's going to like send you to the bad place. So even the things that you think are good are actually like everything's killing us and everything's bad. So it's all just a balance and picking and choosing like, well, what's the best things and like what's not so bad, and picking like, okay, I'm going to cut out alcohol, but maybe I don't want to cut out my favorite ice cream. So it's all just choices in the end, but that's a fantastic show.
Okay. I'm going to have to check that one out. And I had that exact moment today. because I've been sent all these like drinks to try. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to try it. I'm going to review it. And then I got so down the rabbit hole that is legislation and got lost. But now I'm coming back out. So I'm like, I'm going to unbox all of these. I'm going to try them. And I did. And then I had a pile of boxes after broken down. Like this bit, or I don't know if y'all can see me, it was huge. It took me like an hour just to break down all the boxes because, and then even worse, our local parish government, we have parishes in Louisiana, everywhere else in the normal country has they're still negotiating our recycling contract. So we got a notice a week before 2024, so in December, that something happened with the recycling contract. But don't worry, it's only going to be gone for 2 weeks and then it'll be back. It is the middle of October. We still have no recycling. Oh. And so now I don't even get put this in the recycle. So I'm like staring at this and I'm like, here I am trying to say like alcohol isn't bad, like talk about things that aren't helping our world. And meanwhile, I'm pitching these drinks that because of these assholes in the government, they have to put in boxes and ship out to people to hopefully get a sliver of attention because they can't just distribute normally. So now I'm adding more emissions to the earth, I feel like. And I'm like, I just can't go right. Like this was, I feel like it was that exact moment.
Oh yeah, that's negative points for you. You're surely going to the bad place now. But like, so in Oregon, as a grower, all of us, we have to do seed to sale tracking. So that means tagging a plant once it reaches, 3 foot tall. You got to put a plastic tag around it. These plastic tags are not recyclable. And you have to tag every single plant. So it's a big point of contention in Oregon with all the growers of like huge. I mean, they'd have pictures of tags piled up, like overflowing in dumpsters. And they asked, the metric or or OLCC that governs recreational use here, like, can we reduce these? Like, is anyone actually like filtering out these plants to the black market or something? Like, because seed to sale tracking is to ensure that nothing gets out to the black market. It's all contained within the legal system. Yeah. So but it's all security theater because they found, and even talked to law enforcement. They were like, are any plants being diverted out to the black market? And they're like, no, like this isn't happening at the plant level. Like nobody's taking a plant and be like, here you go to your plug. No, it's finished product. So all of this plastic waste over years and years now, it's like tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of plant tags, just all ending up in a landfill because they want to have this like theatrics of we do seed to sale tracking and everything's safe and contained and nothing gets out. It's just like, so we finally,
look at it. See, this is what I love. You look at it that like they really think that they're doing something ethical by it. And in Louisiana, all we say to that is, oh, bless their heart, their cousin had that contract.
Exactly. So
contracts, and it's funny to hear because I think most people do still want to think they have the best interest in heart. Anywho, but
yeah. Well, it's funny because when we finally fought that over like 8 years, we were like, get rid of this, so they got together and they said, well, let's do one plant tag for every 100 plants. They just pulled a number out of their ass. They were like, that sounds good. That will reduce the plastic waste. So we're like, hooray, this is great. We assumed that each plant tag costs 45 cents, that would be the same because it's the same plant tag now. They didn't send you a different one. No, now each one costs $45. And we were like, okay, yeah, who has that contract? Okay, Metric is the only like seed to sale tracking system for all these states. And so people were pulling public records requests of like, who's getting all this money? Because there was nothing signed that we could see that was like, you must charge this much for plant tags. But as soon as they made that change, I was like, oh yeah, that's what it's really about.
And see, I always think of it like any law that's getting passed or anything like that. I never look at it from what's it going to help? I guess my head always goes to a business. Like I have my MBA. I've been in business forever. And my thought is always like, okay, no business is ever going to willingly lose money. So if you're not hearing, like, who are you hearing the opposition from, right? And so I always try to think like, okay, they're not just going to knowingly let someone they like lose money. Or who's paying them lose money. So I don't know. I just always look at legislation from that viewpoint. Like nothing's actually real. They're all just businesses and who's getting paid.
Yeah. And it's funny because you said something earlier and then you just said it now. And it's like, I've gotten several comments from people on my TikTok videos saying, wow, I love that you're educating about like, you know, starting slow and starting small with, you know, consumption and not just pushing because I own a business to sell more gummies to people. And I'm like, whoa, yeah. Cause I did one video where I was just like, whoa, look at you, hot shot. You know, if you're like these, so many people were like, oh, I take this many and I take that many. And so it's kind of making fun of it. And a lot of people were kind of impressed by like, wow, you own a business. You would think you're just trying to push more. And I'm telling people like, no, like start small, like go slow, take your time. Like it's great if you only need a quarter and it's one bag's gonna last you a long time. That's great. Like I think it's because of my experience from the Oregon recreational market where it turned so quickly into this focus on we can't say it here, I don't think, the hippie calories and the potency of high potency.
I haven't heard hippie calories before.
That's like the TikTok word for it. Yeah, hippie calories. I'm not on
TikTok much. So when I finally branch over, I'm going to have to learn. Like the world that you're conversing in is like not the world I'm in over on Instagram, which is great because I think this is where I need to be right now. I'm still talking to the women that like don't even know if they'd be brave enough to try it. They're maybe only on the fence or like they have slowly been having it, but it's still like very discreet. They're not openly talking about it. So mine is very much like in like low vibe. Whereas I feel like over on TikTok, people are being more vocal and open about it. And that's where I want everyone to get. I'm just still in the like, I'm moving them over gently, bringing them out of mommy wine culture ever so like with a loving hand.
Yeah, no, and that's great. And I think there's a lot of novices too on TikTok, but I think people just get so excited when they find a community and they find a creator talking about it like more openly a little bit. And that I see floods of comments that are just like, I found my people. Yeah. And like, great. Like, and they're like commenting just for the algorithm to know, like, great. And I think because TikTok has such a different algorithm, because Gary Vee talked about analyzing the different platforms. It's like TikTok definitely has the better algorithm of allowing things to, no matter how many followers you have, just anything has the potential to reach a lot of people.
Yeah.
So yeah, anyhow, there's been a lot of comments of just like, yeah, I found my people. This is where I belong. And they're so excited to finally have like a place for other people to kind of talk about it. But it's weird. I let myself slip so many times where I have to re-record something because I say the actual term, the real term for it. And I have to use terms like, so I've been calling it, hippie calories. I've been experimenting with the happy compound, happy compound, so THC, the happy compound. And then there's of course gardening and gardening centers, and people get so confused. I wish that wasn't. I think Natalie Benson on TikTok.
I love her.
I know, but I wish she would have came up with a different, like, unique term or some other thing, because I think people legitimately sometimes get confused with like.
I think I did a post one time that was like, I'm really feeling bad for the person that got this and was looking for gardening tips. Like, I'm sorry we invaded your algorithm.
Well, and the new thing now is garden gummies. Those two words together, like hashtag garden gummies, is now flagged on TikTok. If you do it, it's like, oh, this may be associated with dangerous behavior. And so you can't use that hashtag. So you always have to keep switching it up.
Oh, yeah.
Keep the social media platforms on their feet, because once they catch on, then they're just like, I'm going to take, because Natalie Benson got her account taken down and banned. She was at like 500,000.
That's because I was watching her on Instagram, so I didn't see all her stuff, because she was just, I think she was more TikTok, but she had the Instagram as like a backup, but it wasn't her sole focus, which is so smart to do. Anyone that's doing anything, you've got to be on TikTok, you've got to be on Instagram, Facebook, start an email list, because as soon as they take you down for just trying to help other women out. That's all we're trying to do. Like, sign up for our email list, just auto move it to another folder. But that way you can't be, anyhow.
Yeah.
Sorry. But yes. So the day I saw she posted like that it was banned and after all that, and I was like, this is ridiculous. Like, this is ridiculous.
And she bounced back though. I love that attitude of, I feel like in this industry, especially for the entrepreneurs in this industry, like myself and so many others, like bouncing, bouncing back and just being like, okay, let's just pivot. And like, you gotta like kind of duck and weave and bob through all of the legal, regulations and social media. And even before social media, it was like, there's still censorship happening around the herb in so many different places. Like people, so from a business perspective, I'm like, I've gotten bank accounts shut down. Like my first bank account was shut down because I was actually selling t-shirts on my website promoting our farm, because we can't sell our farm stuff direct to consumer. So we can only sell to dispensaries. But still, having that bank account, it was a credit union attached to our drop shipping of like t-shirts. They found out and they shut us down. I'm like, we're not even selling this, but because it's association with it at all, they shut us down, said, come collect your money, get out of here. And then, I always, though, kind of, it's so funny, this is so random. You know the scene in Pretty Woman where she goes in and she's like, big mistake.
Yeah.
And I always want to do that to this credit union now that we've got our e-commerce store, and it's like we're doing pretty well on that. I want to go in there and just be like, big mistake, people, because that was so many years ago. But oh, my light just went out. But
I think we must have hit close to an hour.
Yeah, I know we have no problem gabbing, but and then.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say too, like from bank accounts and then like not getting insurance. Like I have my grow room where I have my plants and everything. I can't insure the building because of what we grow inside of the building. So if that caught on fire and burned down, like we had fires that went through a few years ago.
Yeah.
They were very close to our house, within a quarter mile. And I thought in that moment, oh my gosh, like my house and my grow, everything's going to be wiped out. And I can't even have insurance on it. So there's like that. And then I tried to get beanies done, North Face beanies. So everyone, if you want a North Face beanie, they are fantastic beanies. I love the quality. I tried to get our logo done on them. And the company contacted me that was doing the embroidery and said, oh, sorry, North Face doesn't like herb brands being, done on their stuff. So we got to cancel the order and refund you. So I'm telling you, like, I think it's just social media, gets all the bad rep of like really suppressing people. And at least on Instagram, you don't get videos like taken down. I notice they'll shadow ban you, and my account all the time. I'll go in there, and just so people know, if you're posting about herbs and stuff like that, you have to in Instagram go to your account and like go deeper in and say account status, and then they won't send you an email or a notification.
No, I check that thing daily. I'm like, am I banned? Because I get banned for things that have not banned, but they'll limit, like, we're not going to show you to anybody.
Yeah, and you can't be shown
I just
to
go and
anyone.
delete whatever they're upset about. Like, that's another key. Just don't get attached to anything you love.
Delete something though, and I feel like it's whack-a-mole. They'll just like find something else to flag, but it's worth trying. But I feel like at least your content will stay up and you won't lose your content. Very rarely I've heard of accounts or content getting taken down on Instagram, but on TikTok, be real careful. You get strikes and they will send you a notification. And this morning I went on my TikTok and I had account warning and it said, you got a new strike. And I had to appeal it. I won the appeal though.
Oh, good.
It was for somebody talking about our CBD joints. And
I
was like, it's hemp. It's federally legal. It's not a controlled substance. Like I explained to them, and I won and it got restored. But
still the amount of time and ridiculousness that takes.
I have like 5 other videos.
This is your full-time job. Being on TikTok is clearly your full-time job.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a struggle with social media in general, and just the herb in general. So people don't realize how hard it is to not get censored.
Yeah. And also like, we're not doing it because like we want to get this information out there. We want you to be educated and have the information and be aware.
Especially my educational videos. That's what's so frustrating. I'll do videos about like garden gummies for beginners, and I'll talk about like what they are and what to expect and all these things, because people needed that information. There's so many people that have never had one in their whole life. And that video was doing extremely well, and it was like hitting close to 1 million views. And then of course it got reported, taken down. I appealed it. They said, nope, you're promoting, so you can't do anything about it. And I tried several different times. It kept getting taken down, and similar videos to that of educating people on like safe consumption and what to expect. And so it's really challenging, because that's the kind of content that I want to put out there and tell people. But the fun videos and stuff of just like, hey, I'm going to take a gummy and go see Deadpool or do something fun. Often those are fine.
Oh yeah, because they're funneling them down the cycle.
Or drinks
again.
They don't seem to be aware that drinks are infused, or they're just okay with it, even though their community guidelines say you can't promote drinking, even alcohol. You'll see people with the infused beverages or alcohol all over TikTok, just pouring drinks and great. And those ones never get taken down, I swear.
Because I bet they link to TikTok Shop. That's their biggest money maker. So I guarantee you, as long as they're linked back to TikTok Shop. Okay.
I always wondered that.
We can go down that economic rabbit hole a whole nother day.